This player thought she was safe in her favorite game. But the server admin wasn't just watching her avatar. He was tracking her real-life coordinates. Today, you'll learn how a virtual game turned into a physical nightmare. When we log into a multiplayer game, we immediately enter a state of assumed anonymity. We believe that behind our customized avatars and clever usernames, our true identities remain locked away safely behind the screen. This is the presentation of digital safety, a comforting illusion that millions of players rely on every single day. However, the explanation behind how game servers actually function shatters this illusion entirely. When you connect to a community server, you are directly connecting to a machine controlled by an administrator. This person holds the absolute keys to the kingdom. They don't just see your character moving around, they see the raw data pipeline of your connection. This is exactly the environment where our story begins. A teenage girl, who we will call Emma to protect her privacy, was a dedicated player on a highly popular roleplay server. She spent hours building virtual homes, making friends, and escaping the stress of her daily life. The server was moderated by a seemingly friendly admin known as Observer. Observer was always there to resolve disputes, hand out in-game currency to new players, and keep the community toxic-free. He presented himself as the ultimate protector of the realm. Emma, like everyone else, trusted him implicitly. She often chatted with him in the global chat, asking for help with game mechanics. But here are the facts about server administration that most casual players do not understand. An admin with full backend access can view much more than public chats. Depending on the server architecture, they can access your IP address, read your private direct messages with other players, monitor your exact login and logout times, and even use invisible spectator modes to follow your character without ever appearing on your screen. Observer wasn't just moderating the server. He was actively compiling a comprehensive database on Emma's digital habits. He knew when she came home from school based on her login times. He knew who her best friends were by reading her private whispers. The illusion of safety was nothing more than a trap disguised as a playground. The transition from a helpful moderator to an obsessed stalker rarely happens overnight. It is a slow, methodical process of gathering digital breadcrumbs. The presentation of this phase is subtle. The victim often misinterprets the stalker's actions as extreme luck or intense in-game friendship. The explanation for this behavior is rooted in the abuser's need to establish a constant, inescapable presence in the victim's life, testing boundaries to see how much access they will be granted without raising alarms. For Emma, the subtle stalking began entirely within the boundaries of the game. No matter where she traveled on the massive virtual map, Observer would coincidentally show up. If she was building a house in a remote forest area, his avatar would suddenly walk out of the trees, offering her rare building materials. If she sent a private message to a friend complaining about a difficult level, Observer would immediately announce a server-wide event that made that exact level easier. Emma brushed this off as a bizarre coincidence, or perhaps thought that he was just a highly active, generous admin who favored her. She had absolutely no idea about the physical package he had already mailed to her real-world house. A package I will reveal to you shortly because it changed the entire trajectory of her life. The chilling fact is that digital stalking relies heavily on normalizing the invasion of privacy. By constantly appearing at the exact right moment, the stalker conditions the victim to accept their omnipresence. In the backend, Observer was constantly running scripts to ping Emma's exact coordinates. He wasn't stumbling upon her. He was actively hunting her avatar. He began to cross-reference the times she logged off with the times she was active on linked platforms like Discord. He was building a psychological profile, noting her vulnerabilities, her emotional spikes, and her daily routines. The digital breadcrumbs were quickly forming a complete map of her existence. Eventually, the boundaries of the virtual world become insufficient for a stalker. They crave real-world control. The presentation of this escalation is terrifying because it breaches the physical sanctity of the victim's offline life. The explanation involves a combination of technical exploitation and open-source intelligence, commonly referred to as OSINT. The stalker takes a single piece of hidden technical data and weaponizes it against the public internet to find the human behind the keyboard. In Emma's case, Observer used his server access to log her IP address. While an IP address alone usually only gives a general geographic location, like a city or a zip code, it is the first piece of the puzzle. From there, Observer searched her in-game username across other platforms. He found an old, forgotten forum account where Emma had carelessly mentioned her high school mascot. By combining the city data from her IP address with the specific high school mascot, he narrowed her location down to a single town, and eventually, her exact neighborhood through social media cross-referencing. The shift from game to reality began with cryptic messages. While playing, Emma received a direct message from Observer that didn't mention the game at all. It simply read, "It looks like it's raining pretty hard outside your window. Make sure to stay warm." Emma froze. She looked outside and a torrential downpour had just started. A few days later, he commented on the specific color of the curtains visible from her front yard. The fact is, human error is the greatest vulnerability in cybersecurity. Players reuse usernames, link their social media profiles to gaming accounts, and overshare minor details. A dedicated predator with admin privileges only needs a few hours to unravel a person's entire physical life, turning a fun hobby into a prison of paranoia. When a person holds absolute digital authority over thousands of users, they can develop what behavioral psychologists call a God complex. The presentation of this complex manifests as extreme manipulation and isolation tactics. The explanation is simple. To maintain ultimate control over the victim, the stalker must eliminate all external support systems. They use their administrative power to become the only entity the victim can rely on, effectively trapping them in an invisible, digital cage. Observer's behavior quickly spiraled into digital tyranny. Whenever Emma tried to play with her real-life friends on the server, Observer would use his powers to mysteriously disconnect them, mute their accounts, or outright ban them for fabricated rule violations. He isolated her entirely. If she tried to join a different server, he would orchestrate distributed denial of service (DDoS) attacks against her IP address, crashing her home internet completely. He sent her a terrifying message. "You only get to play when you are with me." Emma was trapped. The sanctuary she once loved had become a tool of psychological torture. She decided that the only way out was to completely erase her digital footprint. She believed that deleting her account and cutting the internet cord would stop him once and for all. But you will soon understand why hitting delete was the absolute biggest mistake she could have made that night. The horrifying fact about stalkers with a God complex is that losing control triggers their most dangerous behavior. When their virtual dominance is threatened, they are forced to reassert their power in the physical world. By attempting to ghost her abuser, Emma didn't end the game. She unknowingly forced the final, most terrifying level of his obsession into reality. The moment Emma clicked delete account and unplugged her router, her house went dead silent. She felt a brief wave of relief. But exactly 45 minutes later, the doorbell rang. It was late at night. She crept to the window and saw a food delivery driver holding a pizza. She hadn't ordered anything. Her father opened the door, confused. The driver handed him the receipt. The pizza was already paid for. But it wasn't a random prank. The name printed boldly on the delivery instructions was Observer. And the note attached read, "To confirm she is home, I am waiting." Remember that package I mentioned earlier? The driver also handed her father a small, heavy box that had been left on the porch. Inside was a USB drive containing thousands of screenshots of Emma from the game, alongside photos of her real house taken from across the street. Observer wasn't halfway across the world. The server admin, a grown man in his 30s, had driven across the country and was parked at the end of her street, watching her front door at that exact second. Deleting the account didn't stop him. It served as the signal for him to step out of the digital shadows and into her physical life. The police were immediately called. When the patrol cars turned onto Emma's street, they intercepted the man sitting in his vehicle, his laptop glowing in the dark with the server logs still open on the screen. He was arrested on multiple counts of cyberstalking, harassment, and trespassing. Emma and her family eventually had to move to fully reclaim their peace of mind, proving that the scars left by a digital nightmare can alter reality forever. When you log on to a server, you surrender a piece of your privacy to whoever holds the administrative keys. Have you ever trusted a server owner with your personal information, or felt like someone in a game knew a little too much about you? Let me know your experiences in the comments. If this story made you rethink your digital safety, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the dark side of gaming. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.